welcome back to Vegas Weekly for a Saturday, August 15th, 2020. It's all about the good news this week. We're spreading the good news. But before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping notes. For those couple of dozen of you who enjoy our Vegas history segment, and I'm being serious and I'm happy that you do, please join us this Wednesday. We're going to have part 2 of our big Vegas history extravaganza. We're going to talk about the 40s, 50s, into the 60s, the golden age of Las Vegas casinos. So you won't want to miss out on that. Should be premiering sometime midday on Wednesday, or maybe early on Wednesday. Just hit that little notification bell and you'll know when we post a new video. A segment that I kind of started in again last week, and I think we're going to make it kind of a part of the housekeeping notes, is my weekly shout out to other YouTube channels. And today I wanted to shout out 2 channels, one that I've known about and been supportive of and been friends with the people who make the videos for a long time, and another one that I just really discovered in the last week or 2, but I think they have something in common. We're all big Vegas fans, or we wouldn't be here right now talking about Vegas with each other or listening to this show. But there's so many other great travel destinations out there, and for those of us who are just Vegas obsessed, it's hard to get around to visiting all those other places. But a couple of channels that I think do a great job of taking you to unusual spots and showing you around are, first, my friends Andy and Simone Goodspeeds. It's all about the good times today, and you'll want to check out their channel, A Good Times Production. I will put a link in the travel notes below, as I always do. The other channel that I really have come to enjoyment is the Frontiersman's Travel Adventures, and Andy tipped me off to this couple. I've only watched a few of their videos, but I really like their style. They travel all over the country and post a lot of content, so definitely support them as well. I will put a link to their channel as well in the show notes. So a couple of channels you should definitely check out. Andy and Simone, for example, have been to a practically private island within the last year, down to Miami and South Beach, all over the Northeast, particularly in Maine. So you definitely want to watch what they've got to show you. Okay, so let's do it. All right, and let's do it with the news today. It's all good. Okay, I'm sure there's some negative stuff. We're going to talk just about the good stuff today because there's a lot of good news coming out of Las Vegas. Hasn't necessarily been the case for a while, but we're going to start with something very encouraging. Over the past week or so, we've begun to see a significant decline in the number of new COVID-19 cases in Nevada, and we've seen that sort of little curve. It went up, and we didn't like that, but it's been coming down. And we do like that because that bodes well not only for the people of Nevada, but for the businesses in the state of Nevada, and for further casino reopenings, further loosening of restrictions at some point. And so definitely very good news there. Another piece of news we just discovered on Friday, and that is that one of the most iconic properties in the Las Vegas Strip that has been sitting empty since March, the Mirage, will reopen August 27th. So that's just a couple of weeks off. So for those of you who are big fans of the Mirage, and I know many who are, you're going to be very excited to be able to get back to that property. In addition to those property reopenings, there's a lot of good things happening around Las Vegas. Go downtown. The Downtown Grand has basically finished its 3rd tower. For more about the Downtown Grand, stay tuned to the end of the show. I'm going to talk about them some more. That tower is going to be accepting reservations in the month of September. Very reasonably priced rooms, but brand new, fresh, spanking rooms for the Downtown Grand. And you don't have to spank anyone in them, although I suppose that's allowed, as long as you social distance. But anyway, continue to see good progress on Resorts World. That is likely to open next summer, creating a massive new property on the north end of the Strip, and we could certainly use one. And of course, Circa continues to come along at a fabulous pace. It's now, they're actually saying, we're probably going to be done before October 28th when they're planning to open the casino and a number of the restaurants there. So again, lots of positive news there. And we haven't talked about Las Vegas sports in a while because we haven't talked about sports in a while, have we? There hasn't been a lot to talk about. But the Vegas Golden Knights, who enthralled us just a couple of years past with their stirring run to the Stanley Cup Finals, a tremendous season that galvanized a community that had been really shook by the events of October 1st, 2017, and the Vegas Golden Knights are back. They had a very successful sort of end of the regular season, got the #1 seed in the Western Conference, and as of this writing, I believe they are up 2-0 in their first round match against the Chicago Blackhawks. So congratulations to the Golden Knights. Perhaps they can once again lift a city that has been really shook by the events of the past 6 months. You know, we don't talk about hockey a lot here on the show, but I know that a number of our contributors, particularly JP, has probably violated several rules and probably should be in the penalty box. And so we've got a drink here today from our friend PJ that's called the penalty box. So on a happy hockey-themed show, let's check out what PJ has to offer today.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cocktail of the Week with your host and not a professional bartender, PJ.
Hey, John, thanks again for another fantastic introduction to Cocktail of the Week, ladies and gentlemen. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Vegas Tips and Tricks and this special episode of Cocktail of the Week. This week, we're going to make a drink that I saw Ace of Vegas and Vegas Impossible having when they were at the Luxor at a place that I like, the Public House. If you guys are ever there, get their wings. They've got excellent wings. When I stayed at the Luxor Public House, it's usually my last stop before calling it a night. I'll get an order to go. But anyhow, we're not here about that. We're here about the drink that Vacation Impossible was drinking. And he got a drink called the Penalty Box, which is one of their specialty drinks here. Now, it's just a 4-ingredient drink, and how they make it is with Jack Daniels, agave nectar, which is what they use to make tequila, sweet and sour, and sweet tea. Well, I'm going to replicate that drink, except I'm making one change. Instead of using agave nectar, I'm going to use gold tequila to see if we can improve this drink some. Vacation Impossible was kind of on the fence on that drink, and I think I can make it a little bit better, so we're going to give it a try. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's make the Penalty Box. And it's a perfect timing for that drink because right now the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are going on and my Washington Capitals are in it. So let's get to it, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to be using Jack Daniels, gold tequila, sweet and sour, and we're going to be putting in some sweet tea, pure leaf sweet tea. But first, let's get some ice in our glass. We're going to be making this drink directly into the glass. Stand down. He's staying down. We're not chasing him down. Alrighty, and let's get one more in there. Gonna work. I think that'll be fine. Alrighty, so we're gonna be doing 1 ounce of each of these ingredients, and then we'll be topping it off with the sweet tea. So first up, Jack Daniels, 1 ounce. 1 ounce of Jack Daniels. Next, 1 ounce of gold tequila. Follow that up with 1 ounce of sweet and sour. All right, and then we're going to top that off with some sweet tea. And give that a little bit of a stir. Now, if you saw Ace of Vegas's video when they were doing, he was at the Luxor and at the Public House with Vacation Impossible. I think his drink was a little bit lighter. Okay, we're going to leave the straw in there. We're going to garnish this with a lemon. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have the penalty box. Let's bring this up close and personal so you guys can enjoy it with me. Alrighty. Now, let's taste this puppy. I think that's the secret. Vacation Impossible, if you're watching this, or Ace, if you're watching this, let them know. That's the secret. Get rid of the agave nectar, put in some tequila. This really tastes good. And you know, it's not overpowering at all. You can taste the Jack Daniels, or you can definitely taste the tequila. Sweet and sour and the sweet tea kind of just blend together, so you kind of get that little tea taste. But this could easily go in the family of Long Island iced teas, which there are so many different drinks out there. But ladies and gentlemen, this was called the Penalty Box, and this is brought to you only by PJs Cocktails on Cocktail of the Week, and presented by John, Vegas Tips and Tricks. So ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, Penalty Box. Please, if you have not already, subscribe to John. Just hit that button right down there, and you're a subscriber. You will get all his fantastic content. Vegas news right up to date. Some of this stuff probably happened today, and you're getting it right now. So if you're heading out to Vegas anytime soon, check out Vegas Tips and Tricks to make sure you're current. Also, thumbs up. Bing, bing, bing. Everybody pop a thumbs up. And of course, leave a comment down below. Let us know how you enjoyed another episode of Vegas Tips and Tricks. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm heading to the penalty box. John, thank you very much. I hope your team's doing pretty good. I know we had a little discussion, and you were once a St. Louis Blues fan. I don't think they made the playoffs. The Capitals are in. Cheers, everybody. We're out of here. Oh, peace.
Okay, PJ, thanks again for that segment. I'll put a link to PJ's Cocktails down in the show notes below, because I'm just going to make a big list of links, okay? And you can check it out. They had a couple of fabulous drinks on his channel as well this week. We've been talking about those Vegas slot apps that you can get free stuff on, and that's a pretty recent development in Las Vegas history for those of us who like to save a little money. But one tradition that goes way, way back is the tradition of the fun book, the tradition of couponing in Las Vegas. And these it used to be when you checked into any hotel, you'd get a fun book. And they would have a number of offers that were of some value and many that were kind of, I don't know. But the fun book has kind of gone. You don't get fun books very often. I think still, if you check into one of the off-strip Boyd properties like Orleans and Gold Coast, I think the last time I stayed there, I got a book of coupons there, and some of them are pretty good. But as far as the strip and even downtown, you don't see it anymore. But that doesn't mean that there aren't still opportunities to save money with coupons. Now, as with some of the games, you'll have to spend a little money, but if you choose wisely, you can make that money back many times over. So today we're going to talk about some books that you can get a hold of that are full of coupons that can save you a lot of money. The first is called the American Casino Guide, and it is, in addition to a coupon book, a great reference book, not just for Las Vegas, but it talks about casinos all over America, as the name would suggest. So if you travel around and visit casinos in other states, it can be a valuable guide to finding those casinos and deciding whether they seem like worthwhile places for you to visit. So in addition to the Vegas related coupons in the book, there are also coupons for other casinos around the country. But the focus, as you would expect of any casino guide, is somewhat on Las Vegas, and there's a lot of Las Vegas coupons in that book. You can normally find it for between $10 and $15. I will post a link to the American Casino Guide, again, in the show notes below. That's 4 links so far. Let's see how many we can get today. And you can check it out. Now, as with the other casino coupon book we're going to talk about, there's not a lot in there that focuses on the major strip casinos. There is a fair amount of coupons that you can use downtown. There's a fair amount of coupons for off-strip locals properties. So these are really good resources if you like to rent a car and explore. The other book that we're going to talk about real briefly is the Las Vegas Advisor sort of book of coupons. Las Vegas Advisor has been around for a long time. It's a great website, lots of information. They publish the top 10 Las Vegas values and have for, I don't know, decades, which is a fun resource. There's a lot of free information on that site. There's a message board. But they do offer a subscription to the Las Vegas Advisor, which gives you access to even more information. And as part of that, you get the coupon book. But you can purchase the coupon book separately. Again, I'll post a link to their site if you'd like to purchase the book. I think it's in the $20 to $25 range. And again, it's very similar to the American Casino Guide, but this is focused completely on Las Vegas. It's a little more expensive, but there are more coupons and probably somewhat better coupons. Now, to give you an idea what you'll find in these sorts of books, and I actually have an old American Casino Guide way back from 2009, but you get a lot of match plays. If you're not familiar with a match play, if you have, say, a $10 match play that you can use at the blackjack table, you put down $10, you put the match play coupon down as well. If you win the bet, you don't win $10, you win $20. Now, for those of you who can do a little math, and I think that's most of you, you'll realize that's actually a winning proposition, even if you don't win every bet. If you use match plays to play exclusively, you're going to beat the house. So there are, I think there are old Travel Channel shows where, people go around and coupon and see how much money they make. I'm sure you can probably find them on YouTube at this point after you finish watching this. But, so yeah, you have a lot of match games. You have, basically percent off, 2-for-1s, drinks, buffets, that sort of thing. Just looking through this, occasionally a free drink. Or just, sometimes 2-for-1 show tickets. It's a lot of things like that you're likely to see. So if you're not interested in the 2-for-1s or 50% offs, if you're not interested in the free drinks here and there, if you're not interested in using the match plays, then maybe the coupon books aren't for you. But if you check out the websites below, you'll have a very good idea of exactly what those coupons are and whether or not it's for you. So I personally, like I said, I did buy this, and I think I bought another one somewhere along the way. And I enjoyed the actual guidebook as much as the coupons. Did use, I think, a couple of them on one of my trips. But I'm not a regular buyer of these, but there are people that swear by them, and you can definitely more than make back the cost of these coupon books. So American Casino Guide, Las Vegas Advisor coupon book. Again, check the links below if you're interested in that, because it's a great way to save money in Las Vegas. So it's time once again for the ever-popular Vegas History segment, This Week in Vegas History. And if you remember, it's been 2 weeks because we took a break to talk about Caesar's Palace. We were working our way down Fremont Street. I bet you're excited to keep moving down Fremont Street, but we're not going to do that today because we left off just after touring the block that is the Fremont Hotel. We got up to 3rd Street and we realized there was a nice little digression we could take. We went north on 3rd Street. We could check out a block where there's a lot of activity downtown, and that's the block where you see the Downtown Grand. So we're just going to pretend that that block between Fremont Street and Ogden Street isn't there. There's just kind of the Fremont on one side. There's a jerky place on the other side. People like that. But then we're going to get up to the corner of 3rd and Ogden. We'll briefly talk about what's on the west side of the street, but we're going to focus in more on the east side of the street where the Downtown Grand, most of it, is located. There's not a lot that I could find on what sort of properties or anything that existed on that block before. There was, back in the 70s at least, apparently a dealer school. If you're not familiar with the fact, you can actually go to Las Vegas and you can go to school to learn how to deal blackjack or craps or roulette. You get like a certificate or something, and hopefully you can break in at a smaller casino, and that's how you become a dealer. Well, there was one of those there right on the corner across from what was at the time the Lady Luck. Now that corner now occupies, of course, the beloved Pizza Rock, one of the favorite pizzas in all of Las Vegas, one of my favorite pizzas in all of Las Vegas. And in addition, on that block, you have the Triple George Grill, another very popular restaurant, kind of a little bit of an upscale, kind of a place you take a business associate for lunch. And Hogs and Heifers, a place you would not generally take a business associate on lunch, a bit of a biker bar, kind of that sort of rough and tumble theme, at least, where they are happy to insult you if you don't follow the sort of rules of the club. Now, Hogs and Heifers, we don't know how long that's going to be there. They've got a little bit of dispute across the street with the downtown Grand. Now, if you continue all the way down that block to where it sort of dead ends on Stewart, you will find what was the original U.S. Post Office and Courthouse building. That was built back in the 1920s. It served that purpose for many, many years. It perhaps is most famous for hosting some of the Kefauver hearings back in the 1950s, when you had several mobsters who showed up and conveniently took the fifth. So it was an investigation of organized crime. You can actually check out that courtroom and a lot more, because that building, acquired by the city in 2002, was turned into the Mob Museum. The Museum of Organized Crime and Law Enforcement, I think, is sort of the long word for it. It opened back in 2012. It's really a great way to spend a couple of hours. If you're really interested in the history of organized crime, I would say budget yourself a good 3 hours. If you're mostly just interested in the Las Vegas part, it's sort of towards the end of your tour, but there's a lot of good information, a lot of fun stuff there. You'd probably do it in an hour, hour and a half. Also, of course, has a nice little gift shop where you can buy sort of fun Vegas stuff, so definitely worth checking out. But we're mostly talking about the property on the east corner of 3rd and Ogden. And the earliest information I could find on this went back to 1961, when Honest John's Barbershop went in on that corner. Now, Honest John may have been a fine barber, but apparently in just a few years he decided that it might be more lucrative if he put in a casino. Well, of sorts. The casino initially consisted of like 2 dozen slot machines and a hot dog cart. But, it grew, and it grew. In 1964, that's when the original casino opened, and 4 years later, they changed the name of the casino to the Lady Luck. By 1972 already, they had basically taken over that entire block. Now, the Lady Luck was not the sort of place you take a business associate either. It was kind of a grind joint. Everything was cheap and, a little bit tacky. But, it was popular, and it continued to grow. By the 70s, they had like a huge marquee all the way around it. In the early 80s, it acquired some additional property in the attempt to provide some rooms for its patrons. But the 1980s were the real period of growth for the Lady Luck Casino. In the mid-80s, they put up their first hotel tower, which is the current casino tower. And just a few years later, they put up a tower across the street. And for the life of me, I can't think what it's called, but if you stay in that tower, you'll have to go up like a couple of floors, and you'll cross over a pedestrian bridge that will take you to that tower. I think you can also access it from the parking garage directly. But and those two towers remain. The Lady Luck came to some prominence. Like I said, the 80s and 90s were the heyday of the Lady Luck. It was a fairly popular place. It continued to be a sort of grind joint. It had a great fun book. And you know what? I found a picture advertising that fun book. So let's take a look at it right now. There you go. That's right. You could get like a free foot-long hot dog. You could get the long-distance phone call, which that actually meant something back in the day. At least you could call mom and dad and say, hey, I'm in Vegas. I haven't lost all my money yet. So But Lady Luck had a great fun book. We talked about fun books earlier. They had a great fun book. And the other thing I always remember about the Lady Luck, and I don't know if this was true throughout its entire history, but if you were playing the machines and a waitress came by and took your drink order, she made the drink. They had little drink carts, and I remember them all being like little old ladies. I don't know, maybe they'd worked there for like 30, 40 years. I don't know. They couldn't work there that long, but for a long time. And, you order a gin and tonic, and they pull out the glass, they put some ice in, a little gin, a little tonic. There you go. Pretty cool. You need to get PJ one of those portable bars like that so he can travel around the country and make drinks. But those are the two things I remember most about the Lady Luck. I did stay there a couple of times. The rooms were fine. They weren't fancy, but it was a fun property and will always hold so many good memories for me. Unfortunately, the Lady Luck sort of fell on hard times. It got purchased by 3-4 different people, and it closed in 2006. And if you go to Wikipedia, there's like pages discussing all of the issues that took place with the Lady Luck and the efforts to renovate it, rebuild it, remodel it. It wasn't until 2013 when some folks acquired that property and renovated it and turned it into what it is today, the Downtown Grand. And again, as we mentioned earlier, they've actually erected a third hotel tower, which should be available here in the next month or two for reservations. Very reasonably priced rooms, I might add. So that's the Downtown Grand. The casino has never acquired the sort of jumpin' excitement of the old Lady Luck Casino, but the hotel apparently does well. They have a nice pool, so it's definitely a worthwhile place, particularly if you might want to kind of get away from Fremont Street, but still stay downtown. And that, my friends, is This Week in Vegas History. That's also going to wrap up our show for the day. Thanks so much for watching again. And we will be back on Wednesday with a special on Vegas history. So check that out if you're so inclined. And if not, we will be back again next Saturday with another episode of Vegas Weekly. Until then, I hope that you have a great, lucky, and healthy week. We will see you soon.